This is not just another guidebook. It is a call to awaken the divine power within you, the magical God-given ability to create the life of your dreams. Imagine every morning when you wake up, you no longer feel like you are adrift in life, but rather you hold the key, a key that opens the door to the life you have always secretly dreamed of, a life no longer limited by fear or doubt. Sounds too good to be true, but it is true. The secret is not far away, it is right inside you, and all you have to do is flip a switch. Just that simple action, and you will awaken the dormant power within your soul, a power that is enough to make your dreams come true. Ernest Holmes, the physician and profound spiritual thinker, believed that the power of heaven is always present around you, never absent, just waiting for you to awaken and call upon it. Yet so many of us live as if we are stuck in a cycle of repetition, unaware that we carry within us a silent superpower. According to Holmes's teachings, each of us has within us a divine potential, a cosmic treasure lying silently waiting to be unlocked. It's like the electricity running through the walls of your house, always there, always ready. But if you don't turn on the switch, the room remains dark. So is the power within you, just waiting for a small act to start shining. You have been oblivious to the fact that there is still another fundamental force that has been present all along. Because you are so accustomed to it, you most likely take it for granted. On the other hand, what if I told you that this power that you use every day may be the secret to effortlessly bringing the life of your dreams into existence? When was the last time you dropped something? Now think about it. Have you ever dropped something and wondered if, just for a moment, it might float instead of falling to the ground? Of course not. You knew gravity would do its job, without hesitation, without question. It's a certainty you live with every day, even if you don't think about it. Now imagine approaching your goals and dreams with that same quiet, unshakable confidence. What would your life look like if you trusted the process as naturally as you trust gravity? You might be thinking, that sounds great, but how do I actually do that? The truth is, it's not as complicated as it seems. In fact, you're already using this power, this universal energy, without even realizing it. The shift happens when you start using it intentionally. Think back to when you first learned how to walk. At the time, it took all your focus and effort, but now you move without a second thought. That's what it's like to live in alignment with the divine energy within you. At first, it may feel unfamiliar, but over time, it becomes second nature, like breathing. This isn't about forcing anything. It's about changing the way you think, aligning your thoughts with the flow of universal intelligence, and learning to trust it. Holmes taught that each of us is an expression of divine intelligence, like individual waves rising from the same ocean. There's no separation between you and this greater power. You are a part of it, or in his words, every person becomes a unique manifestation of the whole, a microcosm within the macrocosm, rooted in the infinite. In other words, you're not just a drop in the ocean, you're the entire ocean in a single drop. Now maybe you're wondering, that sounds beautiful, but how does it help me in real life? Let me ask you something. Have you ever faced a challenge, maybe financial stress or relationship struggles, and felt completely stuck, like there was no way out? What if you could face those challenges with the same trust you have in gravity? What if you knew, without doubt, that a force within you is always working to guide you toward answers? Just as gravity never fails to keep you grounded, this inner wisdom never leaves your side. It's always there, quietly offering support, waiting for you to lean in and trust it. And the most amazing part? You don't have to earn it. You don't have to prove yourself worthy. This power is your birthright. It's always been there, waiting for you to remember. Let me share a story to help you see how this works. A friend of mine spent years struggling with money. No matter how much she worked or how many budgets she created, it always felt like she was swimming upstream, fighting the current. Then one day she learned about this concept of inner power. She decided to shift her focus. Instead of obsessing over the lack in her life, she started to tune into the abundance that was always around her. She began trusting this invisible force, just like she trusted gravity to keep her feet on the ground. And something shifted. Within a few short months, opportunities started showing up out of nowhere. She received an unexpected inheritance. She got a surprise promotion, and she finally launched that side business she had dreamed about for years. It wasn't luck. She didn't change who she was. She simply aligned herself with a truth that had always been there. Abundance flows when we stop resisting and start trusting. So now you might be asking, how do I start using this power in my own life? And again, it's simpler than you think. Just remember, you're already using it, the same way you rely on gravity every single day. The next step is to bring your awareness to it. Choose to trust it. Choose to work with it, not against it. And then watch, quietly, patiently, as your world begins to change. The important thing is to begin making deliberate use of it. First things first, pay attention to the thoughts and beliefs that you have. Does your mind constantly wander to thoughts of deficiency and scarcity? That would be the same as expecting things to fall upward rather than downward. Instead, you should make an effort to connect your thinking with possibilities and abundance. In the same way that you rely on gravity to keep your feet firmly planted on the earth, you should have faith that this inner power is always working for you. Demonstrate thankfulness for the things that you already possess. It's not just advised to make you feel better. You can tune into the abundance that is already there in your life with this method, which is a practical approach. As you become more aware of and appreciative of the positive aspects of your environment, you will attract more of them. In addition, here is a fact that should be kept in mind. You always have access to your own inner power, just like gravity does. It is not necessary to earn it or perform any activation. It is a force that is always present in your life. Whether you are working with it or against it is the only question that needs to be answered. You are familiar with the power that resides within you. On the other hand, were you aware that there is a technique to turn it on immediately? Imagine for a moment that I told you that you could activate your divine potential with the same ease as you turn on the light in your bedroom. The following is not merely a metaphor. It is a real-world method that has the potential to completely alter your life. According to Dr. Ernest Holmes, gaining access to our own inner power is as easy as turning on a switch. On our side, however, we will need to take deliberate action. Let's think back to the last time you confidently flipped a light switch, expecting that the room would suddenly become illuminated. You did not have even the slightest bit of uncertainty that the light would turn on, did you? With regard to our own divine power, Holmes wants for us to have the kind of conviction that we have described. According to his teachings, we are all related to what he referred to as one mind, a huge and all-encompassing consciousness that each and every one of us is a part of, much like waves in the ocean. Considering that we are all connected to this divine power, you might be questioning why I don't feel it all the time, since we are all connected to it. To put it another way, it's a little bit like having a lamp that is always plugged in but never turned on. There is power, and it is ready and waiting for you. However, it is necessary for you to complete the last step, which is to turn on the switch. At this point, things start to get extremely exciting. In order to engage this power, Holmes suggests that we can physically picture ourselves turning a switch in our thoughts. It is a straightforward yet effective workout that you may perform whenever and wherever you like. Would you like to give it a shot? Shut your eyes for a brief period of time. Imagine a light switch that you have in your head. As you turn on that switch, tell yourself, I am now activating my divine power. This will help you feel less anxious. The surge of energy and potential that is surging through you should be felt. Perhaps you are wondering if it really is that easy to understand. Both yes and no. Although the act itself is straightforward, in order to properly harness its power, it is necessary to practice and have faith. Do not forget that you are not the source of this power. In the same way that electricity has always been present in your home, you are tapping into something that has always been there. The mind of God is not the one that needs to be altered, according to Holmes. Rather, it is our own as well. This ensures that the electricity is always switched on and accessible at all times. All we need to do is bring our thoughts and beliefs into alignment with it. It is about adjusting our perspective so that we do not regard ourselves as distinct from this almighty power, but rather as unique expressions of it. Take this into consideration. Within the infinite ocean of divine consciousness, you are a wave that is unlike any other. There is no separation between you and the water. It's the same material that makes up you. The complete essence of your existence, including your thoughts, acts, and actions, is a representation of this cosmic power. Activating and acknowledging this connection is what you are doing when you flip that mental switch. Currently, you might be asking how this relates to the things that you do on a daily basis. So, let's assume you're dealing with a problem in your place of employment. Make sure you give yourself some time to mentally switch gears before you start working on finding solutions to problems. You should constantly remind yourself that you are connected to an unlimited wellspring of creativity and knowledge. It is possible that you will be astonished by the solutions that come to you when you approach the problem from this point of view. There's also the possibility that you're working toward a personal objective, such as bettering your health or your relationships. Imagine that you are turning on the switch each time you make a decision that is connected to that objective. There is more to it than just making a choice. Putting oneself in alignment with the divine power that is always there to support you is what you are doing. Holmes held the belief that every individual ends up being a one-of-a-kind representation of the whole. By recognizing and utilizing your connection to the divine, you are not only making improvements to your life, but you are also making them more meaningful. Your one-of-a-kind mission in the world is being accomplished by you. In the process of contributing to the broader cosmic illumination, you are allowing your own personal light to shine. Congratulations, you have successfully activated your heavenly power and linked to it. However, what if that light could shine with an even greater intensity? Imagine for a moment that just a single thought could fundamentally alter the course of your entire life. The idea may appear to be too good to be true, but Dr. Holmes was of the opinion that not only was this feasible, but it was also necessary. Imagine for a moment that you already possess the key that will allow you to realize your full potential. To rewire your mental circuitry, let's have a conversation about it. According to Dr. Holmes, if we do not like our external circumstances, conditions, or personality, the place to start changing is immediately within our own minds. This is the location where people should start. It's not just a matter of thinking positively. The most important thing is to make a fundamental change in the way that you view and engage with the world around you. Give it some thought. What percentage of the time do you find yourself ruminating on issues rather than finding solutions? Despite the fact that it is a frequent practice, it is comparable to attempting to drive a car while constantly gazing in the rearview mirror. You won't progress very far in this endeavor. The way we think is the way we behave, and the way we act is what happens. This is something Sherlock Holmes brought to our attention. Therefore, if you want different outcomes in your life, you need to begin with new thinking. However, just exactly do you go about doing this? Being positive all the time, that is not something that you should force yourself to do. As an alternative, it is about making a deliberate decision about where to direct your attention. You could try asking yourself, what is the opportunity here, whenever you are confronted with a demanding situation? Alternatively, what can I take away from this experience? Just making this one easy adjustment can provide you access to new opportunities that you would not have explored previously. Practicing spirituality on a daily basis is yet another important weapon. The importance of having a method or a mechanism to demonstrate the veracity of a scientific theory was underlined by Holmes. You could do this through meditation, prayer, journaling, or any other activity that assists you in connecting with the wisdom that resides within you. Consistency is the most important factor. It is unrealistic to anticipate that you will be able to transform your mind without engaging in consistent practice, just as you would not expect to grow healthy by coming to the gym once a month. The use of affirmations is yet another effective method for rewiring your thinking. Saying things like, "I know there is a power for good, which is responding to me and bringing into my experience everything that is necessary to my unfolding," was one of the suggestions that Holmes made. At first, it could seem a little awkward, but keep in mind that you are not trying to persuade yourself of something that is not true. By doing so, you are bringing to your attention the divine power that has always been available to you. When you hear all of this, you might be wondering, this sounds fantastic, but how does it actually work in the real world? Let's imagine you're coping with a coworker who is particularly challenging. For example, rather than concentrating on how unpleasant they are, you may try affirming that you are open to better understanding this individual. It is possible that you will be shocked by the result of this shift in perspective, which is a relationship that is more harmonious. Or perhaps you are making efforts to improve your financial situation. Instead of worrying about your financial situation, consider imagining yourself as already having a lot of money. Feel the relaxation and delight that comes with having financial security. This has nothing to do with denying the truth. It is about bringing your ideas into alignment with the abundance that is already available to you as a result of your connection to divine power. Do not forget that this is a process. According to Holmes, nature will not permit us to remain in any one location for an excessive amount of time. Occasionally, you may have moments of doubt or setbacks. That is all right. The most essential thing is to continue to have faith in the process and to keep coming back to these practices. You have been working on these techniques, but something about them still doesn't feel quite right. Is it possible that you seem to be ignoring the most effective instrument that you have at your disposal? You won't find it in any book, nor will you learn about it in any seminar. It has been there with you the whole time, communicating with you in a low voice the answers that you have been looking for. You read that correctly. We are discussing your intuition, which is the feeling in your stomach that frequently proves to be correct. Would you be able to access that knowledge whenever you needed it? Ernest Holmes, a physician, had the belief that human intuition is a direct connection to the wisdom of the divine. Having a personal hotline to the cosmos, which is constantly available to offer direction and insights, is comparable to having this facility. But let me tell you something. The majority of us have become so engrossed in the chaos of our everyday lives that we have lost the ability to learn how to listen. Give it some thought. How long has it been since you last paid attention to the voice that comes from within you? Probably, if you are like the majority of people, you are thinking to yourself, I don't have time for that. On the other hand, what if you could save yourself hours of strain and confusion by simply taking a few minutes out of each day to listen? That the true creative power of the mind lies deeper than the intellect was one of the lessons that Holmes taught. It's not about trying to think more deeply. To feel more profoundly is the goal. Getting in touch with that point of knowing that transcends logic and reason is the goal here. Do you know that feeling you get when you simply know something is correct, even if you can't describe why a certain thing is right? That's your intuition working its magic. To what extent can we strengthen this link to the wisdom that resides within us? It's not as complicated as you would think it is. Commence by allocating a brief period of time each day for the purpose of peaceful thought. Meditation or clearing your mind are not relevant to this discussion. In order to listen, it is necessary to make room. It is possible that you will be astonished by the things that show up when you give yourself permission to remain still. One more effective method is to express thankfulness. Holmes had the belief that deepening our connection to divine wisdom can be accomplished by noticing and appreciating the positive aspects of our lives. In other words, it is similar to setting your radio to the frequency of happiness and abundance. When you pay attention to the things that are going well, you cultivate a greater sensitivity to the direction that is constantly accessible to you. Give this a shot. Take a moment at the end of each day to jot down 3 things for which you are thankful. It is not necessary for them to be significant. You could be thankful for the comforting warmth of the sun on your face or for the smile of a complete stranger. It is possible that you will become more conscious of the subtle nudges and insights that occur throughout the day as you continue to conduct this exercise on a frequent basis. However, this is where things start to become really interesting. As Holmes put it, the intellect ought to move from inspiration to action in a flowing manner. Simply receiving intuitive insights is not sufficient on its own. On these, we need to take action. When it comes to this, trust is essential. It is important to not disregard your instincts when you have a feeling about something. Think about it for a bit, and if you think it's the correct thing to do, go ahead and do it. That is probably what you are thinking. But what if I am wrong? The thing is as follows. You can think of your intuition as a muscle. When you utilize it more frequently, it becomes more powerful. Additionally, even if things do not go precisely as you had anticipated, there is always something to be gained from the experience. It is important to keep in mind that the universe is constantly working in your favor, even when it does not appear to be doing so. Just for a moment, try to picture yourself going through life with the assurance that you always have access to a limitless amount of knowledge. How would that bring about a shift in the manner that you make choices? What kind of impact would it have on your personal development, your work, and your relationships? Holmes was of the opinion that difficulties shed light on our existing state of consciousness and compel us to look inward in order to summon a greater amount of love, strength, and awareness. Therefore, the next time you are confronted with a challenging circumstance, rather than allowing yourself to become consumed by anxiety and tension, give this a shot. Take a few slow, deep breaths, close your eyes, and try to answer the following question. What does my inner wisdom have to say about this? It's possible that the insight that arrives will take you by surprise. When you tune into your own inner wisdom, you are opening direct channels to the advice that comes from the divine. Which text may you possibly be getting at this very moment? Pay heed to those subtle nudges, those gentle whispers of intuition that you find yourself hearing. These thoughts are not out of the blue. They are directional signs that point you in the direction of your highest good. Perhaps you have been paying attention to your gut instincts, but have you also been responding to them? You have access to a potent instrument that enables you to communicate directly with the heavenly mind. Throughout your entire life, you have been engaging in this activity without fully appreciating the potential it possesses. You are prepared to open it, are you? Visualization is not the same thing as daydreaming or thinking about the future. According to the teachings of Dr. Ernest Holmes, it is a powerful and practical method of communicating your requirements to the divine mind. You might think of it as sending a message to the universe that is crystal clear and vivid about what it is that you want to produce in your life. But let me tell you something. It is not sufficient to simply think about what it is that you want. In his explanation, Holmes underlined that this is not a passive behavior. As is the case with any other talent that you wish to become proficient in, it takes active participation. If you were to simply think about playing the piano, you wouldn't necessarily expect to become a great pianist, would you? This falls under the same general premise. The question now is, how can we put this into action? Let's get started right away with a straightforward visualizing practice. Shut your eyes for a brief period of time. Consider something that you have a strong desire to bring into existence in your life. It could be a new employment, a really loving relationship, or even an improvement in one's health. Let's not simply sit here and ponder about it. Look at it, experience it, take it in. Imagine that you have accomplished this objective. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Specifically, what sounds are connected to it? The more senses you engage, the more genuine it appears to your mind that you are experiencing it. You should also keep in mind that your mind is unable to differentiate between what is genuine and what is vividly imagined. Visualization is a technique that athletes employ to increase their performance for this reason. Because of this, their minds react as if they were actually carrying out the endeavor. There is a possibility that you are wondering, this sounds fantastic, but how frequently should I do this? It is suggested by Holmes that this be done on a consistent basis. To the same extent that you wouldn't expect to get in shape by going to the gym once a month, you can't expect to bring your wishes into existence by imagining them every once in a while. Time should be set up on a daily basis for this activity. It does not have to be at all lengthy. The difference can be made in as little as a few minutes. However, this is where a lot of individuals make mistakes. Just once or twice, people engage in visualization, and then they give up when they do not see results right away. You should keep in mind that you are sowing seeds in the rich soil of the divine intellect here. It takes time for seeds to mature. Believe in the procedure, continue to cultivate those seeds via your constant practice, and remain open to the possibility that they will come to fruition. To put it another way, Holmes was of the opinion that this heavenly force is available to everyone. It's not something that's only available to a select few people. This right is yours by birth. He actually stated that God is more willing to give than we are to receive, and that this is the case. That is a very powerful notion, isn't it? All that is required of you is to make use of the wealth that the universe provides. Take this into consideration. When you create something out of nothing, you are not doing so. As you do this, you are bringing yourself into alignment with the countless possibilities that already exist. By tuning into the frequency of your desires and allowing them to materialize in your life, you are bringing them into existence. Let us now discuss feelings and emotions. During the process of visualizing, it is essential to experience the feelings that are related with the accomplishment of your goal. Enjoy the sense of relief and happiness that comes with being debt-free when you are imagining financial riches. In the event that you are looking for a romantic partnership, you should experience the ease and warmth that comes with being with your perfect companion. The gasoline that drives your manifestations is these feelings that you are experiencing. It is important to keep in mind that this is not about pressuring outcomes or manipulating the cosmos. In order to align oneself with the natural flow of divine energy, you must first align yourself. It is not you who is generating the power. By doing so, you are drawing upon what is already present, in a manner similar to applying the natural laws. When it comes to the divine mind, what kind of desire are you prepared to sow in the fertile soil? By maintaining a constant practice of visualization, what seed will you tend to and cultivate? Always keep in mind that every single significant accomplishment began with a single concept, a clear picture in the mind of someone. That very same power resides within you yourself. When confronted with hardship, have you ever pondered the reasons behind the success of certain individuals while others appear to fail? What would you say if I told you that the way you understand and respond to difficulties could be the key to unlocking a life filled with development and abundance? Ernest Holmes was of the opinion that any challenge we encounter is, in reality, a gateway to greater understanding and power, provided that we are able to effectively utilize it. Consider the most recent time you were confronted with a significant obstacle. Have you experienced feelings of being swamped, pressured, and possibly even a touch hopeless? Every single one of us has experienced that. Imagine, however, if I were to tell you that those emotions were actually preventing you from accessing the power that you possess the most. It was taught by Holmes that the difficulties we face are not arbitrary roadblocks that are placed in our path. To be more precise, they are invited. We are extended invitations to develop, to acquire knowledge, and to access the boundless wisdom that is always there inside us. It's almost as if there is a pop quiz being given to us by the cosmos, but it's not to test us, but to teach us. Let's take a brief minute to discuss the topic of money. Struggling to make ends meet may surely feel like suffocation, right? On the other hand, Holmes would argue that these difficulties are really illuminating our existing consciousness regarding abundance. Instead of viewing a lack of financial resources as a roadblock, what if you saw it as a signal to explore the creative potential that lies within you? It is possible that it is time to consider new ways of making money or to take a fresh look at the abilities you possess. It is important to keep in mind that Holmes stated that the way we think about life is essentially what creates the situations in our lives. Try adjusting your mindset from, "I never have enough money," to "I'm open to new opportunities for abundance." This will help you move away from that mindset. Let's move on to the topic of relationships. Every one of us has experienced our fair share of heartbreak and misunderstandings. However, what if these difficulties were actually opportunities to exercise love and understanding that is not conditional on anything specific? The belief held by Holmes was that each and every interaction is an opportunity to express more of our divine nature. If you find yourself in an argument with someone in the future, give this a shot. Asking yourself, "How can I bring more love into this situation?" is a better way to approach the situation than focusing on what they are doing wrong. It's possible that you'll be shocked by how this straightforward adjustment can completely transform even the most challenging relationships. Problems with our health can be among the most difficult obstacles we must overcome. However, Holmes recognized that this was an opportunity for advancement. While it is essential to seek the advice of medical professionals, he underlined the importance of supplementing this with a profound faith in the life force that is flowing through us. To better understand your body, try imagining it as a perfect manifestation of heavenly health. Perceive the vitality of life via each and every cell in your body. This has nothing to do with denying the truth. In order to align yourself with the healing power that is always available within you, you must first align yourself. At this point, you might be wondering, this is all very exciting, but how am I supposed to actually carry out these steps when I am in the midst of a crisis? A very good question. As a means of preparing us for the obstacles that life presents, Holmes emphasized the significance of engaging in daily spiritual practices. Commence by allocating a brief period of time each day for the purpose of peaceful thought. Attempting to force good ideas is not the point here. It is about making room in your life to connect with the wisdom that lies within you. When you give yourself this amount of time, you might be astonished by the insights that come to this realization. Holmes once said that what the world needs is not just spiritual ideas, but a true spiritual belief, which then leads to a true spiritual experience. So don't just think about those lofty concepts. Live them, apply them to every moment of your life. Whenever you face a challenge, big or small, try to stop and ask yourself, what is the opportunity here? Or what am I being invited to learn? Who am I to become from this situation? Because every challenge is essentially a workout for your mental muscles. Just as the body cannot grow strong without exercise, the soul cannot grow strong without friction. But the amazing thing is, every time you overcome an obstacle, you not only become stronger, but you also get closer to your inner divinity. The great thing is that you don't have to go far to find this strength. It has always been inside you, from the moment you were born. You don't have to achieve it, you don't have to prove it. All you have to do is remember that it exists. And then little by little, start living that truth. Change the way you see life. Listen to your intuition. Be grateful for the smallest things. Imagine the best version of yourself. And see difficulties as doorways to growth, not walls. You are not separate from the source of the universe. Just as a wave cannot leave the ocean, you are a unique expression of that divine source. And every time you tap into your inner power, you are not only changing yourself, you are moving closer to the soul mission you were born to fulfill. So how will you choose to be present today? What will you let shape your life? Fear or awakening? The decision is yours. More precisely, it is in your mind. Use that power. Use it often. And then watch your world begin to change.